Hello, everyone, and welcome to the American Horror Story podcast from the As Seen on TV crew, Season 3, Episode 10, The Magical Delights of Stevie Nicks. I'm your host, Dom, and with me I have my co-host, Michael.
Good save on that opening sentence there.
Yeah, yeah, I just worded it backwards. It's all
I know.
good.
Good save.
Yeah.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going quite well.
It is.
Yep. Too many dead people in all the shows I've watched today.
There unfortunately are a lot of dead people.
Too many.
How many people died this last couple episodes on the American Horror Story? This whole season, I think everybody's died at least once.
I don't know. Too many dead people and too many dead people.
This is true.
Like, I watched this and I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. today, and dead people galore everywhere mentioned. But anyway, who died in the last few episodes in this? We've had Queenie's dead. We think a whole bunch of voodoo witches are dead. Marie's just a disembodied, a head without a body. Who knows where? Not Marie. Delphine. Who knows what happened to her? That's a good question. And now this episode, should I speak the deaths? You probably watched it. They're gonna get spoiled anyway.
We're gonna be talking about it. It's very shortly
Nan
anyway.
is confirmed dead because her soul went with Papa Legba, and we're not sure about Misty, but she was knocked unconscious with a brick, thrown into a coffin, and bricked into a mausoleum.
She was.
So possibly dead.
Could be. We don't know. We don't know for sure.
She'll probably escape somehow. The whole mausoleum will just implode, or
So we knew going into this episode we'd have a guest appearance from Stevie Nicks. But did you expect her to be a witch?
no. I thought Fiona would work some kind of spell or magic to get her there because we knew she was coming because it was in the plot, the preview plot synopsis for this episode. I wasn't expecting her to be a fellow witch of their coven.
No.
They called her the White Witch, so I don't know.
Does that necessarily mean she's part of the coven, though, or?
Maybe she's just an unrelated witch. I don't know. But she seems to know Fiona very well, and I loved Misty's reaction. It just walks in. She's describing this witch, this old friend, all this blah, blah, blah. She looks, Stevie turns and looks at Misty, and Misty just goes down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Just dries like, is she okay?
Well, so there's definitely more. This is just the story of one coven, so there's definitely more witches and more than just the voodoo witches. So there's witches all over the place. But Madison even walked in on Stevie Nicks performing.
Yep.
That's my cat going. I was like, what the hell is that noise? That's my cat trying to get into the room.
I was about to say, your cat turned into Godzilla.
It's not Jasper, though. So
Kayla?
it's probably Chelsea, if I had to guess.
No.
But anyway, so Madison walks into the room as Stevie Nicks is performing, and she walks up to Fiona and is like, so where's Eminem? And Fiona goes, oh, Marshall? He's not your type. Implying that Eminem is possibly a witch as well.
Hold on. Honey, you were right about the Eminem reference. She's like, from the other room. She said Dom has probably heard that reference and went.
So, what was your opinion on the fact that they're kind of alluding to the fact that many famous pop stars are witches?
I think that, okay, one, then maybe that's how half of them are so popular. I mean, people have talent, but I mean, what if these people didn't have enough talent and they used witchy magic to get some, more followers, fans, peoples? Other thought is Fiona led her whole life kinda as a slut. So she could know that Eminem is not Madison's type just because she spent some time, with him.
kind of disturbing. Do we?
It was funny. Just, oh, Marshall, he's not your type.
I love that she referred to him as Marshall and not as Eminem's not your type. Is on a more personal level. So there could have been some Fiona and Eminem hanky panky going on there. We don't know.
Hot.
Indeed. Something I don't want to visualize, but now moving right along. So we got to see the very opening of the episode had Marie and Fiona kind of working things out. Fiona like slipped some stuff into her tea, like helped so she could sleep. But the two of them together, as you see throughout the episode, they're kind of on the same wavelength. Like you see Cordelia is talking about her husband and how he was part of the witch hunters and she's so sorry she couldn't believe that. Fiona like furiously goes and looks like she's gonna attack Marie when Marie fezzes up that it was her doing that brought him to them. And she walks right by her and slaps Cordelia.
That was a shocker.
So these two, they've been enemies for the longest time. And even Marie says at one point, who knew the person that I was going to be the closest to came in the guise as an enemy. So what kind of trouble do you think this spells for the world? I'm not going to say just the current people, because this extends further than the Coven.
You got Marie admits she's over 300 years old. You have ancient, very old, very powerful voodoo witch who was very powerful when she's young and can only, I can imagine, have gotten more powerful, more practiced, more wise over the years. And the current Supreme, who is also very powerful, many of fun little abilities and powers to use. So that's doom in a basket right there, assuming Fiona survives her cancer.
Oops, that's not the frame I meant to hit.
Nope, totally not.
No. Do you think Cordelia is being treated too harshly by Fiona?
When it comes to her daughter, I swear Fiona is an emotional roller coaster of ADD. Because in one episode, they're bonding, girl power, stuff like that. The next episode, they're plotting to kill one another or horrifically berating each other. I mean, it's like a typical, mother fighting daughter sort of relationship. I don't know if that's typical, but it just, I don't know. I think she's being a bit harsh. How could Cordelia have known?
This is true, but then we're introduced to this new character this episode, Papa Legba. And Cordelia tries to cut a deal with him. Fiona, sorry. Fiona tries to cut a deal with him, but when they go to seal the deal, Legba goes, "You don't have anything to trade. You don't have a soul." So do you think the fact that she doesn't have a soul might be part of the reason why she's so harsh on Cordelia?
It would probably be a contributing factor. I mean, I just read an article today how humans are like instinctually pre-programmed to be nice to each other, ish. But yeah, the lack of a soul would explain that, and that raises the question: what the fuck happened to her soul?
Yeah,
where is it?
That's a good question.
Is it a side effect of being the Supreme? Their souls ripped out when they gain all that power? Who knows?
Did she trade it for something else to someone else down the line somewhere? Did she possibly have it removed? Did somebody cast a spell? Does somebody have her soul? There's quite a bit of...
Yeah, there's quite a lot that could be going on there. Also, I spent the whole episode thinking that was Baron Samedi.
Yes.
Apparently, I looked it up. Apparently, Papa Legba is an extremely important Loa deity in Haitian voodoo. In order to speak with any of the Loa, you need to ask his permission first. Is basically the way it works. So, yeah. They were, as far as the voodoo religion or whatever goes, they did their research. They were pretty accurate.
Yeah, he kind of seemed like a cross between Baron Samedi from James Bond and I don't remember, what was it, Papa Shango from WWF, and the dude from the most recent the Princess Frog Disney.
Oh yeah.
It kind of seemed like a combination of those three characters blended into one.
Typical. It just basically, you know, Caribbean islander voodoo man with white, powder paint on his makeup on his face and dreadlocks.
Yep.
And the kiddo. She watched this episode with us. I know, not a great show to show an 8-year-old.
Oh,
but
come on, Mia loved it.
Oh, she adored it. All of a sudden, Omi says something in she says like, "Oh, how about that?" I don't know what she said in a mimicked Jamaican accent. Mia turns around and spits out like, "Yeah, I know." Like, she has no soul in a perfect. I mean, the kid is half Jamaican, so I mean, there is that. But the accent was uncanny. It was beautiful, like perfect accent, and both Omi and I looked at each other like terrified.
Yeah, that's
kind of
creepy.
It's really creepy.
Yeah, I could see that.
Amazingly creepy, but awesome. Where were we? Papa Legba.
Papa Shango.
Papa Shango. He kind of a fucked up deal him and Marie had. I mean, it explains how Marie got eternal life finally. Wasn't no spell or potion or concoction or anything like that. It was just a deal made with a voodoo spirit to every year. That price is kind of screwed up, but the price seems tailored to each individual person. Every year you have to give me an innocent baby.
Yeah, but then it was also revealed that the only thing that Marie gave to Madame I can't.
Delphine.
Yeah.
LaLaurie.
Yeah, Delphine. Was a vial of her tears, and the way that Marie was describing it, they didn't have any magical properties. They weren't what caused her eternal life. So she said if she was to give it to Fiona, that she would still remain withered and all this stuff, and she would eventually die. So the tears weren't what did it.
So it did do it.
That raises that question.
Was it? Yeah. She gave Delphine... Wow, that's good. Yeah, because she gave Delphine a vial of her tears. She said there's nothing special about them. Was it in that fit of rage over, her lover being tortured by Delphine that imbued them with some kind of magical properties?
Was she playing around with some other form of magic? She was definitely at work with some sinister stuff because she was spraying herself with the blood, right?
Yeah,
she had that whole thing going. She was doing work with all the other slaves. She was making people that were obviously supposed to be dead. Like their insides were open, and you'd last maybe a few hours like that. Some limbs were decapitated, and they weren't sewed up, and they weren't stitched together. They were just open wounds all over the place, and these people were still alive.
Maybe it was Delphine's, little blood mask poultice that she, carried on about that actually worked.
Right. So maybe she was playing with some kind of witchcraft herself that nobody at that point understood. Maybe she made a deal with Papa Legba.
Or some other evil spirit.
Yeah.
Oh my. Good thoughts. And then this whole episode we haven't seen Delphine. The last we saw of her was her crying over the the Black Power video that Queenie left her with.
Well, that's where she still is, to be assumed, because Queenie's supposedly dead, right?
Right.
The only reference we got to Queenie in this episode was the girls saying, "Oh, she must be dead." Zoe had said, "Oh, we haven't had a list of names yet," or is that Nan that said? One of them said, "We don't have a list of names." Madison's like, "Let's go to the morgue.
Should we go to the morgue?" And they're both like, "No."
Nope. They don't want any more with resurrecting young people after what happened with what's his name? Jake? No.
Kyle.
Kyle. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no more. Too many living dead people in this show.
Well, like, Kyle was a disaster bringing him back, but he seems fairly normal now.
Mm-hmm.
Something that Fiona had done.
But that's like, they sewed him back together from spare parts, so that's probably why he was all fucked up.
Right, but then Myrtle's fine. Even Madison will. I guess we'll talk about this now. We see Madison having a conversation with Misty Day about how everybody's just trying to cash in on her fame and how she's going to be the new Supreme, and they're trying to win her over so that they can use favors down the line. And as much as Madison's being a dick, that's true. Like, that's what these people are doing. They're looking for their ticket to... Yeah. If they ever need help, if they're friends with the Supreme, they're probably going to get something out of it. And
yeah, probably.
It's the harsh reality of it. So while they're having this conversation, Madison tries to convince Misty to be her own person and not what everybody else wants her to be, and then proceeds to smash her in the back of the head with a brick and throw her into a coffin, which gets thrown into a mausoleum and boarded up and cement shut and all that stuff. But Madison had just, like, during this conversation, she resurrected somebody to show Misty she's not the only one that can resurrect people. But the guy was kind of wandering around the graveyard aimlessly.
Did you notice that? Yeah, I was half expecting him to just drop. Or, like, go crazy or something. Like, she resurrected him, but she didn't do it properly. So, I mean...
He looked confused. He didn't say anything. He looked right at Misty, so it's not like he was enchanted to not notice them.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just, like, wandering around the cemetery, like, aimlessly. And it almost seemed like he wasn't all there. So I'm thinking Misty's powers of resurrection aren't high enough to actually be a full-blown resurrection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And plus, that was the first time we know of that Madison just did that without casting a spell from a book. So it's possible that, she's just not practiced with it.
Yeah, but she had Misty. See, I was like, we haven't seen Misty perform any powers other than resurrection, so how can they be calling her the Supreme? But then we saw Misty was able to enchant the two, the graveyard operators. Yeah. But I was like, why didn't they just have Madison do that? I was like, maybe Madison can't, but then she unenchanted them. So she was clearly capable of doing that. I don't know why she had Misty do that. Maybe that was to show us as the viewers that Misty is capable of more than just resurrection.
Yeah. Possibly, because why would they think she's the next Supreme if all she can do is one thing? Mind you, one extremely powerful and really hard to pull off thing, but one thing.
Yeah, and Madison later revealed to the girls that her heart murmur is gone.
Mm-hmm.
With her resurrection, the heart murmur left. So we're kind of trying to figure out who the new Supreme is. We're like, all the girls are starting to exhibit these new powers, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Madison is doing a lot. Like, we've previously seen her set curtains on fire. We've seen her push people with right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that Madison? Did she?
That's Madison. She flipped the bus.
Yes, yeah. So she has, like, some form of telekinetic powers when it comes to that.
That was the power we were introduced to with her.
Right. She's that. She has resurrection. She has the enchantment. Like, she's got, like, 4 powers right now that we know of. Right? Then we have Nan.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What did she show this episode?
She showed full-blown mind control and telekinesis.
Right. So her powers of... persuasion are increasing. Her mind reading ability is morphed into telekinesis, which we've seen on multiple occasions now.
Mm-hmm.
She made the neighbor drink bleach.
That was mind control, and then she pushed Zoe away so Zoe couldn't stop her. Right. So that was telekinesis. She used both at once, and it's like, oh, Nan, you went from unwillingly hearing people's thoughts to holy shit.
Yeah, and this just kind of morphed out of nowhere. Like, we haven't seen her play around with these. All we hear is Nan saying, oh, my powers are developing. And we're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And we're kind of in the same boat as Madison until Nan makes her put the cigarette out and stick it up her.
Yeah. It's like, put the cigarette out. Now stick it in your vag. What?
And I love that Zoe interrupts and is like, what did she say? You
Both of you skanks.
skanks.
Yeah.
She called Nan a skank.
Oh,
That was
God.
great. Great.
Nan just sitting there like, where's the body? I think what Nan means is, where are you going to have the funeral? Oh, there's going to be a service at our church, but Kyle, he's here with
Lucas.
us, not Kyle. Luke is here with us. Here are his ashes. I had him cremated. And Nan's like, you bitch. And it's like, drink bleach.
Yeah. So Nan was like, you smothered him with a pillow.
Mm-hmm. She pulled it right out of her head. Like, you smothered him with that pillow.
She was like, what? And then she goes, you need to be cleansed. I was like, oh my God. So do you think Nan knows what the mother was doing to Luke other than the pillow incident? Do you know what this cleansing? Because we don't really even know what that means.
I think she got the whole thing out of her head before she killed her.
Right. So before the end of the episode, did you...
Oops.
Ow. That was...
Sorry.
Ow.
I was fixing something and things went flying.
Do you think that Nan had the potential to be a Supreme at that point?
Perhaps. I think they all have the potential.
So who do you think is the most likely candidate for the Supreme?
I honestly like my theory. I think I spouted last episode or the episode before that all of the girls are developing the powers of the Supreme for some strange reason. And that all of them are candidates, or they're all gonna be. But if I had to go with individual, and Omi backs me on this one, would have to go with Zoe. Because
Zoe seems like the obvious choice, though. Like,
I know she's obvious.
She's laying low in the background, and though we don't see much of her anymore, she's the main character. That's the way I get it. So
yeah, but since she shut off Marie's voodoo zombie attack, she raised her hand, chanted something, and Marie, however many miles away she was, got blasted out of her trance, out of the air, like, holy shit, what just hit me? Kind of, effect. That seemed like a lot of power right there. And since that, we haven't seen much from Zoe. I mean, that was an entirely new thing because fucking people until they die is a very oddly specific power.
Yeah, it's like the Black Widow power.
Yeah, it's the Black Widow power, and it's one that doesn't seem to be readily effective in all situations. Like all these other witches, like, I can set this on fire. I can throw things with my mind. I can read your mind. I can make you do things. I can bring people back from the dead. What can you do? Oh, I can. If I fuck people, they die.
Oh.
Okay. Oddly specific.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it doesn't really seem very witchy to me.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's a completely different power that, just when she's in the heat of the moment and everything, she causes their brains to boil.
Could be. I don't know.
Hmm.
So,
I have Asia song stuck in my head.
If I had to guess who the next Supreme is,
mm-hmm.
It's going to be Madison.
Yeah.
Madison's kind of been my pick from the beginning. And
it could be.
If you're not looking at the unlikely obvious, is the way I call Zoe, because she's obvious to the point that she's so unlikely. That the other end of the spectrum is Madison is so likely to be chosen that it's likely she's going to be chosen. So they could go one of those two ways, the unlikely or the likely, like if they go that.
Yeah, we're at this point in TV, like, back when TV and stories were a new thing, like, that twist, like, oh, everybody's expecting the hero to win. You know what? The villain's going to win. But now, they've done that so many times that the villain wins that you expect the villain to win because the hero's won so many times you expect that. So you're going to do what you expected because you didn't expect it. And it's this whole continuous loop of headache ensues. Right.
So we're expecting Madison because that's the way they're directing us. We're also expecting Zoe because that's the way they're trying not to force us.
And that's the obvious choice. And they're trying not to force the obvious. So really, you can't tell. They're doing a great job of hiding it.
So you're on Team Zoe. I'm on Team Madison.
It could have been. I was on Team Nan until she got drowned in a bathtub.
But that doesn't necessarily mean we've seen the last of her, does it?
But Papa Legba took her soul to the afterlife, and she was willingly going, saying, anything's better than here.
Right.
So I think that's the last we see of Nan.
But what if Papa Legba's got other plans for Nan?
You never know. Who knows? I mean, this could really go either way. I know Misty's not dead. That's not the last we saw of her, and Misty's still a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. Maybe it's some girl they haven't introduced from the other end of the country who's just going to show up in the last episode and be like, yeah, so I started manifesting all these crazy witchy powers.
I think that would cheat us a little bit too much.
Oh, that would piss a lot of people off. You kidding me? But I could see something that happening.
It's got to be somebody that's currently in the roster. Out of left field, who I'd respect a decision would be Myrtle.
Yeah, but they say that she has to be young. Like when the supreme powers transfer, it transfers to a young witch. So Myrtle's already out of the question, unless her resurrection resets the cycle and she's young by, she's only been alive for a couple weeks standards.
Right. Who knows? It would be nice to see because that's something Myrtle's always wanted.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Myrtle, like she said, she got reinvigorated by her resurrection and she has the will to do stuff.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to happen. Her and Cordelia are completely off the table. I think.
Okay, so if Myrtle's off the table, if Cordelia's off the table, if Fiona's off the table because she already is, she's not going to remain. That would kind of also be cheating us, So out of who's left, if Nan is gone, that eliminates Nan. We have Zoe, Misty,
and Madison.
And Zoe, Misty, Madison.
All. Queenie and Nan are dead.
Yeah. So I guess we have 3 choices.
We have 3 choices right now, and we're going to find out, obviously. The last episode of the season is called The 7 Wonders.
Right, so we're probably going to find out in that episode. We have, 3 episodes left?
3.
3, so...
And I'm sad.
Yes, this has been a great season. I've loved it.
This is a great show and great seasons, and it's effective storytelling that they can get it done with a half season's worth of content. But I feel cheated. It's really, just too short.
Is it really a half season's worth of content?
13 episodes versus 22 to 26.
By standards now,
yeah,
it's kind of, I guess, considered a half season. But if you look at shows, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 was the norm.
Yeah, you're right.
So they're kind of going the old school mode. They're not going on the current shows where a lot of shows, take a look at some of the other ones we do, like Supernatural and stuff. There's a lot of filler episodes. There's stuff, a lot of information we don't need. They extend it because they can get more money out of it and stuff like that if they stretch the shows. But American Horror Story, there's no filler episodes. It's just... It's show after show after show of story, of content, of this. There's no fillers. None.
Yeah, you're right. It's about, when you think about it, 13 episodes. I just did some math in my head. It's the same amount of screen time as a Game of Thrones season. Mm-hmm. That's 10 one-hour episodes. This is 13 45-minute episodes. The time works out to be a little off, but just about the same. Mm-hmm. So, I guess, you're right. This is kind of the standard.
So, and even look
I still feel cheated. I feel cheated Game of Thrones. Fuck God, I feel cheated in all these short seasons.
But then even look at stuff like Big Bang Theory or something that may not have as much story development or something because it's a comedy show, but they're 30-minute shows and they're full 22-episode seasons or whatever. So it's about the same time as one of these as well. So
you're right.
I don't know. I when people are like, "Oh, it's only a half-season show." It's really not. It's just no bullshit. They cut right to the chase.
No filler. You're right. It is all the main story. So is Game of Thrones. It's all the main story. Yep. No filler. But again, I know why they do that. They said, their production costs only allow them 10 episodes, so they want them to be as good as they can. So that's probably the same deal here. They want to make high quality, great episodes, and that limits they're limited by budget.
I see. I don't even know if it's that because after the success of the first season of American Horror Story, they could have easily been approved the 22 episode season. Easily.
Yeah, you're right.
And
Take a
they
look
chose
at
not to go that route. They chose to keep it small. They've added, since season 1, which was 12 episodes, season 2 and 3 have been 13 now. So they've added one episode to that number.
but they've kept it about the same length.
Yeah, they're keeping the story strong. And I like that because when you start watering it down or stretching it too far, you start losing interest in it. And you may notice around this time there's other shows that we've watched, and I believe you said this about Vampire Diaries. When you get to about the halfway point, you start losing interest in it. Like
That's where I'm at with the Vampire Diaries right now, unfortunately. It's got to do something to hook me back in. It really needs to.
Right. So this show doesn't give you time to get bored of it because they keep you going. Boom, 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 boom. Walking Dead is another one. They're only like 13 episode show or something along those lines. And
You're right.
it's the same way. Boom, 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 boom. You just want more, and then when it's over, you're left going. Bleh.
That's what I'm like right now this whole season. This is my most looked forward to show. I mean, how many shows do we do for this podcast? 10.
Yeah, about 10.
Rough number, 10, 12, something, whatever. We say we do 10. This is my single most looked forward to one all week. Wednesday night or Thursday morning if I watch it, the morning after. It's the highlight of my week.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's a really good show.
I only got 3 more highlights of my week coming.
I would go back because I don't think you've seen some of the other seasons.
I saw all of season 2. I saw half of season 1.
Go back. Season 1 is still the best in my opinion. So go back and watch that. But just to kind of wrap this up real quick, we have there's kind of like this possible like civil war brewing within the Coven. Like everybody's kind of has their own agenda, right? You have Fiona and Marie. They're teaming up or whatever. Cordelia is kind of on her own. She's got the kids. The kids have their own agenda, but Cordelia is like looking to attach to somebody. Like she gets bullied by her mother quite a bit, right? She's kind of, I don't know. Misty's she's out of action right now. We don't know what's going to go on with Misty, but we have Zoe. We don't have Nan anymore. We don't have Queenie anymore. We have Zoe and Madison. Right? So they're kind of on their own. Cordelia, she's on her own. Marie, Fiona. And I don't think we're going to see much more Stevie Nicks. I think that's the end of that.
Yeah, I think that was a one-off cameo appearance.
Yeah, so it's like these 3 factions within the Coven.
Yeah, pretty much. Sorry if you're seeing the top of my head here. I'm trying to fix a sound issue I come up with all of a sudden with my audio. Like, my headphones are cutting out, and I don't think I... Dom, speak.
Woof.
Oh, it fixed itself. God damn it.
Woof.
Yeah, you're fine.
Bark. Bow wow.
Like, that whole last
Arf,
sentence,
arf.
all I'm hearing is like... Apparently the cable was loose for my speaker system.
That's not what I said.
I know it's not what you said. I got the gist of it.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Like the girls want like Madison wants to be the lone supreme, They want to kill off Fiona and Marie. Marie want to kill off the girls. Cordelia is left alone in that whole triangle of killing people. And you got Myrtle doing her little thing, playing her little instrument there. Ooh, listen to the celestial sounds. I got a Professor Trelawney from Harry.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Mike, but he's frozen. Hello, Mike? Michael is gone. So, yeah. That, whatever he was saying. Oh, I think Mike's back.
I'm back. Was that my end or your end?
It was your end.
You sure? Because my internet didn't cut out. I'm still fine on everything.
You completely froze.
You're right. That was my internet because Justin TV's saying welcome to the chat room.
Yes, it was you.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I can't see you though, but
yeah.
Anyway,
and stuff. So the next episode we have is called Protect the Coven.
Yes.
It says Fiona and
Lovely.
I can't ever pronounce that.
Marie Laveau.
You can write that however you want, and I'm still gonna mess it up.
Yeah, Frenchy.
You could phonetically spell it out, and I'll still mess it up. But Fiona and Laveau face off against the corporation. Cordelia makes a desperate sacrifice to protect the Coven. So, what kind of sacrifice do you think Cordelia's gonna make?
It says desperate sacrifice, and Cordelia is kind of in a pretty depressed state right now. I think she's gonna kill herself.
How is that gonna protect the Coven?
She's gonna do it in a self-sacrificing spell. And call up. I don't know if I cut out. I said I was getting a Professor Trelawney feel from Myrtle Snow, the divination professor from Harry Potter.
That's exactly where you cut out.
Okay, well, I got another Harry Potter reference here. Maybe it's the spell Lily Potter used to protect Harry all those years by giving her life and creating the ultimate protection. Maybe that's what we're gonna get.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Nope, wrong spell, but close enough.
It's not Leviosa, it's Leviosa.
And then there's the pointing out that Ron wasn't saying it wrong, it was Draco who was saying it wrong.
Who knows?
Yep.
So Fiona and Laveau.
Just say Laveau.
Yeah, I need to.
Laveau.
No.
L-A-V-O.
Nope, it's not happening. So what do you think they're gonna do fighting the corporation head on?
Men with guns and silver bullets and witches with crazy powers. Who knows? Heads are gonna explode. I mean, I loved that whole, like, the mice in it lost in a maze surrounded by money.
Yeah,
and apparently
it's pretty awesome.
The Security and Exchanges Commission, seizes everything with the FBI and shit, like, for inside whatever they got them for, insider trading, security
lost
fraud.
Half of their fortune in 10 minutes.
Oh, they lost. Yeah, I think they've lost pretty much everything.
But that's basically their
it's
call
like
to
we
arms
lost.
right there. It's like, all right, they struck first. Now it's time to finish this.
Not really.
I can't say they struck first, but yeah.
No. The witch hunters were the constant threat throughout history.
Right.
So I mean, they're technically the ones who struck first.
Right, but I mean, it was quiet from them at this point. Because what's his name?
Hank
was kind of almost acting on his own, right?
Sorta.
But they don't know that.
No,
Hank was pretty much acting on his own. Yeah, he may have had some orders or whatever, but he took it upon himself to go in and do the voodoo witches up. And in that, it seemed like he was protecting the Coven and attacking their enemy head on.
Yeah, you're right.
So now he was trying to protect the Coven. So now the Coven is going after the witch hunters. So that's what I meant by they're kind of attacking first.
Yeah, you're right.
But see, I don't know, because it's kind of a gray area, because maybe the way they were talking, what was it, 2 episodes ago? The corporation kind of made it seem like that this was Hank's plan all along to take them all out. So I guess maybe not, it's them striking first. I don't know. It's hard to say who really struck first in whose mind.
Yep.
It's one of those neither of them were right kind of deals, and this was destined to happen anyway.
And shit's gonna hit the fan.
So
I can't wait.
That it is. It is. So, Mike, where can the people find you?
On the Twitter at Thilladren, ThilladRen. I'm celebrating a milestone of 50 followers.
Ooh.
I've been tweeting more shit. I forgot to retweet that we were going live. Damn it.
Yes, you're the best. We're tweeting so much more shit. I'm in the woods with the witches, by the way. So you can find me on twitter.com/phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM. And you can... Oops. Two hots? Two hots, bitches.
Very hard to balance, but 2 hots.
Now do jumping jacks.
No.
What?
No.
Do jumping jacks.
No. I can't believe I'm keeping this balance on my head. It feels like it's going to fall
I'm not
off
doing a very good Nan impersonation, am I? Do jumping jacks.
No, you're not. Nope, not happening. I'll remove one hat and put the other on. I'll cover my face with this hat. I'll give the microphone a hat again.
Oh,
It's funny.
perfect.
Looks really funny.
You can find us both on ASOTV Podcast, YouTube, what is it, youtube.com, Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, /ASOTV Podcast. You can find us live on justin.tv/ASOTVP. You can email us at asotvpodcast@gmail.com. Send us feedback, questions, comments, anything you'd like us to potentially include in future episodes, or just let us know if we're doing a good or bad job.
Yeah.
Until next week. See you guys later.
Farewell.